What's up everybody and welcome to another edition of AGR's Pop Culture Reviews. Guys, I'm totally not ashamed to say this, but I'm actually pretty giddy today. I've been waiting and anticipating for the release of this statue for some time now. Ever since I saw the original concept photos, I was really excited. Hey guys, I'm totally religious. I believe in the Holy Trinity. That's Superman, Batman, and my personal favorite Amazon, Wonder Woman. My first crush, and this is no lie, is when I saw the 1970s TV show and I first saw Linda Carter. Dear God, she is the personification of a beautiful woman. I mean, for crying out loud, the lady's gotta be like 70 years old and she's still super hot. So today we're gonna be taking a look at Yamato USA's fantasy figure gallery line of Wonder Woman. Now this is a very interesting line. The way Yamato USA is kind of marketing these figures is basically fantasy made reality, and it's pretty interesting, like something that you would come up with in a dream. I'm always a strong advocate of seeing these heroes in a different manner, or being visualized in a different concept. And I think this is like the perfect mix, because we always look at the realm of the Amazons as being somewhat mythical, and I think that this is the strength of this statue. Overall, I really like the sculpt. It's really amazing. Immediately right out of the box, the thing that really grabs you is definitely her face sculpt. It's spot on with the concept photos, and I just can't get over how well they did it. Now, one thing that you really have to take notice of is definitely in the eyes. They, apart from making them spot on with the terms of the blue that they usually have in the comic book, but they also made sure that it didn't have dead eye or it didn't have a cock eye, and that's pretty impressive. The sculpt in her hair is also pretty special. They simulate flowing in the wind very well. The painting was done just right in terms of the highlights, the shading, and the blues and the black hues, and I gotta give props to Luis Royo. This is an amazing freaking sculpt. You know, the more I look at it, the more I really appreciate it, and I have to say, it's on par with the Wonder Woman premium format statue in terms of how they sculpted the hair. Really impressive. Guys, where this statue really shines is definitely in her costume. Just take a look at that sculpt. The painting is amazing, and you know, the little subtle details, just the creases in her midsection, the way that her belt kind of folds into her costume, and if you notice, they really painted it well. I don't see any imperfections whatsoever. I also have to say, the skin tone or the flesh tones were done really well also, and I think it complements the statue because it's a wonderful contrast. The sculpt of her lasso is also pretty impressive, and it's pretty malleable, so you don't have to worry about breaking it. But one of the things I do love about the statue, and it's a trend that I see in many of the pieces that are being released, is that they're magnetic. So you simply take off the arm by just pulling on it, but you do have to be careful because it is very strong. And to put it back on, you just put it in place. And again, I have to warn you, it's very strong. Her other arm is equally impressive in terms of detail. What I really love is her bracelets, or rather the gauntlets, but the painting was done very well and it's really a nice shine, contrasts well with the rest of her hand. And of course, it's also magnetic, so you can pull it off, carefully of course, and then when you want to put it back on, you just stick it back on, no big deal. But again, it does have the same force as the other arm, so be very, very careful. The sculpt of her briefs is also pretty impressive, and for the first time in a long time that I've seen in statues, the briefs have actually had the exact and perfect color as the comic books. I also like the creases and the other subtle details. I gotta say, I really love the concept that they went with in terms of her boots. They look like Spartan warriors. The red is amazing, an excellent contrast with that silver, and just take a look at the sculpt on her second foot. It's absolutely amazing the way it's resting on her toes that way. It just looks absolutely badass. Now this piece comes with a couple accessories that you add on to it to complete the statue. The first one being is her sword, and I gotta tell you, it's pretty detailed. I love the silver or gunmetal that they painted it in, and I also love the contrast between that gold and the red star. What's also pretty interesting is that the sword is actually wedged into the stone she's stepping on, and I kinda like it. It really reminds me of that Excalibur-esque quality. It's pretty cool. Now the other accessory that this piece comes with is her shield, and it's very detailed. I really like it a lot. It's a little more bronze than gold, but it contrasts well with that blue. Now here's the thing, I didn't see any dedicated slot to put the shield in. It's a little bit loose, so you're just gonna have to find a way to wedge it onto the stone. It's a little more loose than I would like, but you know, you could find a way to fit it on there, it's no big deal. Now guys, I really like this base, and the reason I like it so much is that it's not the traditional round base that you would see in other statues. It's actually more rectangular. If I can describe it, it's the kind of unbase, because it doesn't really look like a base at all. It looks like you just put a bunch of rocks together, and that's really the strength. The cool thing is that she plugs directly into the base at the front, and it's actually very sturdy, and I guess it has to be to support the weight of that heel, which is not directly plugged into the base. You also get this really kick-ass art card, and you know, rather than giving you something small, they made it pretty big. It's about the size of a postcard, so if you wanted to, you can frame it and put it alongside with the statue. That's personally what I'm gonna do, and I'm glad they included this. Now here it is, guys. This is probably the coolest thing about this statue. You also get an official certificate of authenticity from the company, along with the signature of the sculptor and the number of your piece. And you know how I am, guys. I love to see numbers on my pieces. It's a really nice touch, and you know what? You just gotta love them for including these wonderful things. And here's the thing, they could have just stopped at that, but they didn't. They also included this awesome name and numbered plate, and this thing is not cheap, it's actually pretty hefty. You know what? That's just a cool little extra. Thanks a lot, Yamato USA. We love these kind of things as collectors. Overall, guys, I'm very impressed with this piece, and I really like the vision and the direction that they went with in recreating this version of Wonder Woman. As I think it stands right now, they're actually going to continue this line with the rest of the DC figures, and I'm really interested to see what Yamato has to offer. Now before I go, I just gotta thank the folks over at Yamato Toys USA and Sideshow Collectibles for sending this wonderful piece over for review. Alright guys, so that's my official review on Yamato USA's fantasy figure gallery of Wonder Woman. As always, I thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next AGR's Pop Culture Reviews.